Caicedo now, he's been a long-term target of Arsenal's, but the rumor has it that Chelsea will land him in the coming weeks. How good a piece of business do you think that is for Chelsea? And do you think they're right to start signing people first, or should they be clearing out a lot more before they do that?
I don't know about Caicedo, to be honest with you. What are we talking about? 60, 70 million?
They're talking nearer 80, between 80 and 100.
You see, I don't know. Like, I've been very quiet about Caicedo all season just because I almost want to like just observe the player, like learn more about him. Because I feel like, honestly, especially on Twitter, people see a player and they get a little bit of hype and he gets linked to a big club. And all of a sudden, every single club on the planet needs this guy and there's no other midfield option. I think, and I've watched Caicedo a lot this season, especially the second half. He is a very good player, no doubt about it. I think he is one of the better defensive midfielders in the league, especially at 21 years old, I believe. But I also believe that all of a sudden we're talking about this guy like he's the next N'Golo Kante. And he very well may be, but what he is right now does not, in my opinion, align with the way people are talking about him. I think he's very good, but if you were to give me the option between him or Declan Rice, I would take Rice. And I think that's the direction that Arsenal are going towards. Now, for Chelsea, again, 80, 90 million, fair enough, but that's not my money. If you could get him for 60, 70 and pair him next to Enzo Fernandez, who I actually rate very, very highly, I think he complements Enzo exceptionally well. I think he frees him up a little more offensively, which I think Enzo is really kind of locked into this defensive role that really isn't his strength. You put Caicedo next to Enzo, I think you have a top double pivot for the next 10, 15 years. I think that'd be a really good addition to the squad.
I really rate Caicedo. I look at him as someone that I think he's can be one of the leading lights in midfield across European football for the next 10 years.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I think he's got so much talent. Again, United are rumored to be interested in monitoring the situation, which basically says to me we want him, but we just don't have the readies or the money to put it down on him. The pressure for Chelsea is, look, I like Enzo as well. I don't think he was anywhere near as bad as rivals tried to pretend he was. I think he was one of the kind of players that could walk away from that catastrophic second half of the season with his head held high. I think he played well, but he was in a position where he's feeding the ball into the right areas. And that attacking line for Chelsea just, was impotent, to say the least. They needed Viagra over there. But I get the pressure on Chelsea spending that much money, especially if they start going into the 90s, into the 100 millions, because Chelsea have got huge pressure on them to turn their season around anyway. You then throw in another record-breaking sign-in to that level, there's going to be a huge amount of pressure. But I have to say I am jealous of the fact Chelsea might be pulling this off, especially with Arsenal, which we'll touch on, going for Mount. Chelsea that had an awful season, maybe getting Caicedo, and right now we're not really credibly, or we're not linked in any advanced way to any of the top midfielders. Like, we're looking at Lavia, we're looking at Caicedo. Today it was reported the manager's fuming that the takeover hasn't happened because we can't bid for Rice. So I'm sitting there as a Man United fan thinking, I wish I wouldn't want to be in Chelsea's position right now. I like where we are as a team, but just financially in such a better situation than we are, or it appears they're in a better situation than we are. But do you think there's a risk maybe there could be a Basuma scenario? Because again, what we'll say is when Basuma got sold for 25 million, the world was like, that maybe could be one of the best signings in Premier League history. 25 million for that guy. And maybe he bounces back next year. Do you think there's any chance Caicedo goes to Chelsea and does a Cucurella or does a Basuma?
To be fair with Basuma, even last season, again, I was another one of those people that was saying, look, Basuma is good, but bro, the way people are talking about him, again, it's like we're talking about one of the elite midfielders in world football. I think it was good. I think he'll bounce back again. But no, I think Caicedo was better than Basuma was. And again, he's 21 years old. To be showing this much at this young, the sky is the limit for the kid. I just don't think right now at this moment, I think people are talking about him a little too much. But my concern, honestly, with Chelsea, Terry, isn't that Caicedo could end up like Basuma. I'm concerned about the age of the squad going into next season. All of their players and all of their signings are really, really young and really, really inexperienced. And I think for a team, again, like you're trying to build a core, you're trying to build a team that's going to go into this next generation of Chelsea Football Club. I don't know. I think maybe you'd want a few more senior statesmen around the club. I think you look just at 2021 when Chelsea won the Champions League. How many of their players are gone or on the way out? Havertz on the way out. Mount on the way out. Timo Werner left. Kovacic on the way out. Jorginho left. N'Golo Kante left. Edouard Mendy on the way out. Rudiger left. Azpilicueta, I don't know what his future lies. There's very few players of that core that are still there. And some Chelsea fans might say that's a good thing because they weren't good enough. But I don't know. I think it's going to be a huge ask for this really, really young, talented, but very, very young and inexperienced team to all of a sudden just bounce back from last season and immediately get Chelsea back into the top 4. I think that's my one concern because Chelsea are going to stumble at points next season. And that's really where you want your elder statesmen to hold themselves accountable for it and pick up the youngsters. And do they have enough of those players?
That's a great point. It's a great look. I sort of Poch is going to make them play better football. They will improve next year. I think a big part of it comes down to how good City, Arsenal, Man United, Liverpool, Newcastle are, how well they do. I actually don't think they've got anything to worry about from a top 4 point of view from Tottenham. I think the appointment of Big Ange, the way Spurs fans have bigged it up, or a lot of them have bigged it up, it seems so false, like a fake smile when you really want to cry. It doesn't feel right to me, considering the same fans believe the media lies from their own journalists. They turned down Enrique, they turned down Nagelsmann, but their number one target was Big Ange over those guys. that makes no sense to me. It's like, I really want a masterclass in how to write great music and how to sing. And I can choose between Stevie Wonder and Peter Andre, and I pick Peter Andre. You're just not going to do it, in my opinion. Do you know what I'm saying there?
Yeah.
It's crazy to me. So I don't think they've got that to worry about, Chelsea. But I think you make a good point, and I'd love to get Chelsea fans' opinion in the comment section. Are you worried about the average age of your squad next year, the inexperience and the pressure? Because you have to bounce back. You have to be in the top 4 race. You have to be competing for trophies, because by the end of this summer, and I know people love net spend, but everyone knows I don't work in the net spend world. It's what have you spent on your squad? You're going to be moving towards 800 to 900 million pounds spent on this squad. There has to be a tangible return on that investment, even in the short term. I think clubs the size of Man United, clubs the size of Chelsea, Liverpool, there is no 2, 3, 4 years without winning. You've got to be winning whilst you're rebuilding. I don't know your take on that.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree, to be honest with you. I was kind of laughing at the Spurs thing. Honestly, I think what is it? Ange Postecoglou, right? That's how you pronounce his name. I think I was actually happy to see that appointment, because honestly, I think Spurs have been like deluding themselves the last few years that they're this club that can just go hire these big win now serial managers, and they're one manager away from winning trophies. Spurs, for as long as I've known them, they've been that team that plays beautiful football, but they're beautiful losers, and they end up in 5th, 6th, around those areas. And I think Postecoglou, like, you're going to get, it's like Harry Redknapp 2.0, in my opinion. You'll play some decent football, sign some decent players, but know yourself, man. Know your worth. This whole, let's get Mourinho and let's get Conte to take the final step. That's not you guys, man. That's not you. Be yourself. So I am happy about the Postecoglou thing. But yeah, Chelsea, honestly, do I think they're obviously going to be better than they were last year. I think it's almost impossible for them to sink any lower than they were that year. But I'm looking at guys like Mudryk, honestly, not even as young as I thought he was. But in terms of football age, he hasn't played that many games. Enzo, pretty inexperienced. Caicedo, inexperienced. And Nkunku is actually going to be one of their more senior players coming in from Leipzig. So I'm very interested in seeing what they do this season. I got a lot of eyes on them.
I hear you. I want to say to the viewers as well, I know you're all pointing out that I'm wearing PJs, my pajamas tonight. I'm telling you this now, people. This is a Ballers 2-piece. This is what I'm going to say. This is Ballers clothing. You need a high amount of confidence to pull it off wearing it in public. And I'll say this to people now. If you like clothes, never let anybody make you feel inferior in them. One of my best friends growing up, Ricky, said this to me. You wear your clothes. Don't let them wear you. That's what I'm going to say. So you can all banter all you want in the comments, but look at me. Cool, calm, collected, confident. I'll go out in this with my legs. I got nice legs as well. Nice, big, strong legs as well. So they look good in these shorts. You know what I'm saying? Fighters' legs. I know some of you want to see them as well. Do you know what I'm saying there? In my Tony Montana get up. But there we go. People saying Fabrizio breaking news. Yeah, I've just seen it. They just announced now that Wolves have completed the agreement for Ruben Neves to join the Saudi club. 55 million euro fee. Do you know what, as well? Like, I want them to come in and buy out. Like, they're going to start. That's what's great about this Saudi league. They're going to buy a lot of dead wood for a lot of money. Like, they might listen. If he would agree to go, they'd easily go 50, 60 million for Maguire. You know, they would. They just got that money's easy. Ah, mad days. Yeah, and then also now that they're now looking to sign Koulibaly from Chelsea as well. Koulibaly from Chelsea.
Yeah, that makes sense, to be honest with you. That's been a disappointing signing.
Yeah, awful. I couldn't believe how bad he's been. He just
Yeah.
looks like he's one of those. Look, Maguire's not been great for us in the last 18 months to 2 years. But I would keep if someone said you got to keep Maguire or being Koulibaly, I wouldn't even think about it. Yeah, Maguire. Like for
That's that
Maguire,
Gary Neville quote where it's like choosing between two blokes to nick your wife.
yeah, yeah.
Maguire,
It's,
Koulibaly.
it's crazy. But honestly, I wouldn't have to think about it. Koulibaly makes Maguire look good. That's how bad he's been. Like his Chelsea career, anyway. Like before that, he's very, very
Yeah.
top
Oh,
and highly rated midfield player.